fans as they drew 1-1 with Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League. A minute's silence and the national anthem was played at Ibrox as Rangers faced Napoli. While tributes were also made ahead of Chelsea versus RB Salzburg and Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund. The Premier League will return on Friday after all games were called off last weekend. Fulham boss Marco Silva says he thinks that was the right call.
Premier League showed huge respect for the Queen, and this is the main thing for me. The people decided in a way that to show the respect. Of course, if you play games, you can pay a tribute as well, but the decision was made, and all of us we have to respect the decision, and for me, was a decision that showed a huge respect for the Queen.
I'm Fraser Knight. This is LBC News. We'll have a roundup of the main headlines next.
LBC News. The latest news headlines next.
Tesco Club Card has the power to lower prices on your favourite family dinners like McCain Extra Chunky Chips from £3 to £1.50 and Bird's Eye Codfish Fingers 10-pack from £3.60 to just £2.50. It won't help you decide who gets the crispiest chip, though. Nothing's that powerful. Helping you spend less with your Tesco Club Card or app. The power to lower prices. Tesco, every little helps. Majority of larger stores ends 19th of September. Club Card or app required.
What is BT's unbreakable business Wi-Fi? Well, if there's construction outside your business and they cut through the broadband cables, or if a UFO abducts your broadband lines and your neighbour Steve, you'd still be connected. If your Wi-Fi ever drops, you're backed by EE's 4G connection on the UK's best network. Search BT Unbreakable Business Wi-Fi today. Now available with full fibre. BT means business. Terms apply. 4G coverage required. Full fibre subject to availability. Best for mobile network performance. Verify at ee.co.uk/claims.
News, sport, travel, weather in 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes, where the news never stops. This is LBC News.
From Global's newsroom, I'm Josh Bancroft. The first full day of the Queen lying in state is underway, with hundreds of thousands of people expected to arrive in London over the coming days. Extra train services are running, and people are being warned to expect disruption to London's transport system. A large security operation is also ongoing to cope with the crowds and to manage Her Majesty's State funeral on Monday. Stephen Roberts is the former Deputy Assistant Commissioner at the Metropolitan Police. He's told us the force are well prepared and a plan has been in place for some time.
Those contingency plans are reviewed on a regular basis, annually initially, but then much more frequently as people get older. So this isn't an event where the planning started last week. This is an event where the planning started probably 30 years ago, and the plans simply need to be refreshed now and brought into effect.
Today, the King is taking a private day of reflection and will not be taking part in any events. A new study is claiming people may face additional risks because they're being treated by burned-out doctors. Researchers at the University of Manchester say the link between burnout and patient safety incidents was highest among younger doctors and emergency medicine physicians. A federal jury has convicted the singer R. Kelly of several child pornography and sex abuse charges in his hometown of Chicago. The 55-year-old was found guilty on 3 counts of child pornography and 3 counts of child enticement. And Ukraine's president has raised the country's flag in the city of Izium after his forces recaptured it. Volodymyr Zelensky has visited the area and says he wants life in recaptured territory to get back to normal. From Global's newsroom, you're up to date.
LBC News, weather.
A cloudy start to Thursday across the southeast of England as well as East Anglia. I'm Holly Harris. I'll have a full forecast in the next 15 minutes.
LBC News, travel.
Problems on Central Line. Underground station is closed and trains not stopping on Central Line at Chancery Lane because of staff shortages. On Piccadilly Line, they're not stopping at Caledonian Road. The M4 London bound lorry service area is closed because of a broken down lorry at Heston Services. A1M northbound through Cambridgeshire exit slip roads closed because of barrier repairs at Tollbar Way Junction 15. Through Hockering and Norfolk, the A47 both ways closed because of a police incident from Hockering South to North Hockering. And through West Yorkshire, the M1 southbound closed for roadworks from Junction 46 at Selby Road to Junction 45. More in 20 minutes here in LBC News.
This is LBC News.
This is LBC News. I'm Fraser Knight, taking you through the headlines to Thursday breakfast. Well, thousands of people have joined the snaking queue along London's River Thames as they wait to see the Queen, who's lying in state. Her coffin, draped in the Royal Standard, will remain in Westminster Hall until Monday morning. Members of the public will continue to file past it night and day to pay their respects for just a few seconds.
Yeah, you're just lost for words when you're in there, and I literally got the goosebumps, and yeah, just getting very emotional. Yes.
Incredibly silent, but beautiful as well, to see the Queen there and pay our respects. It was a very sombre but beautiful moment.
We were held up slightly because they were changing the guard, but actually having that moment to just stand and watch what was going on, it's very sobering, because I think until that point perhaps it's not real, and then suddenly it becomes real. And I'm not prone to lots of tears, but I felt my eyes welling up.
It wasn't what I was expecting. I didn't think I'd feel so strongly about it, but I guess you never understand how much someone means when they're there. It's when they're gone that you can understand a little bit more. Just the actual sight of it. Someone who's served our country for 70 years, not with us anymore. It's a great loss.
Well, earlier the Queen's coffin was carried on a horse-drawn cart out of Buckingham Palace for the very last time. It was taken down the Mall, through Horse Guards, past Downing Street, and then into Westminster Hall itself. Rachel Venables, LBC's correspondent, was outside Buckingham Palace as the procession began.
Thousands of people have never been so silent as huge crowds packed out the route, sombre and still, watching as Her Majesty left Buckingham Palace for the last time. Her oak coffin draped in the Royal Standard, pulled on a gun carriage by 6 black horses. The whole route's lined with members of the Household Division, the Armed Forces as well, the Navy, the Army and the Air Force, all paying their last respects to Her Majesty. As her family, her children, King Charles, William and Harry as well, grandchildren, amongst those who walked the 38 minutes between here and Westminster Hall, the boom of the minute guns over in Hyde Park and the tolling of Big Ben ringing out every minute to mark each 60 seconds of their journey. For those I spoke to in the crowd afterwards, it was a moving, emotional moment.
It was incredibly emotional, really, because she's been Queen for 70 years. It obviously means something to our country, it really does. It's just a very sad moment, and Tommy, thank you for everything you've done for our country, really, yeah. It's just such a sad, time, so unexpected, and to be here, it really means a lot.
It's a privilege to be here. I wouldn't be anywhere else in the world, no. And the Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth, was quite remarkable in everything she did. She, for me, was like a shining beacon. Wherever she went, there was sunlight. In fact, we got sunlight today. We had sunlight at Balmoral. And there's a deep respect and love and a sense of gratitude from me and my family and from this country and the whole Commonwealth and world.
So it was very emotional, yeah. I think everybody's I feel people wanted to come down here and just express their thanks to the Queen for everything that she's done for this country over the years. And when you see, obviously, I go by that, obviously it's very emotional for everybody.
You hope it's going to pan out, and it was peaceful and lovely and very, very sweet and emotional. It's the end of an era and the start of a new one. The start of the new one, I think, will be wonderful, but it's always sad saying goodbye.
It was amazing. When the Queen came, the atmosphere, everybody very silent. It was very emotional to see this moment. And I could see, very respectful, and I could see the British people very into, with the occasion. It was really, really nice.
Her Majesty's coffin has now been placed on the raised catafalque in Westminster Hall, the orb and sceptre placed on top, with the Royal Standard draped across the coffin still.
Rachel Venables reporting there. Well, the route taken by the coffin was lined by crowds, in some places 10 deep. But reflecting on the grandeur of the procession, LBC's presenter Andrew Marr has been asking whether we'll see anything like it ever again.
It was reminiscent of Lady Diana's funeral procession.